One of the things I wanted to dive into with Tony was that same thing that I experienced, and I want to hear it from your perspective. You've been biohacking for a long time. What are a few things that you've shifted in your behavior that have created more energy?
Yes.
That shifts that actually helped you expand your energy, right?
Yes.
Like you said, you're serving more people right now, but even when you are traveling, you're moving around the world, you're coaching sports teams, you're coaching individuals, you have groups.
Yeah.
How have you been able to expand your energy year over year? What are some of the simple tweaks that people could do today while they wait for this amazing product?
Well, there's products now, they have them now, but for me, it's, I was a vegan for about 10 years. And then I ate fish and salad basically for about 12 years. Mm-hmm. So dietarily, I've always tried to make sure that what I had was as clean as possible to start with. Mm-hmm. Then I train like a crazy person. I do oxygen restriction training type of thing so that my capacity is strong. But I'm also trying to train so I can literally do 2.5 marathons on a day, and then another day, another day, another day. For me, the most important thing I think has been for me is, believe it or not, has been a combination of hot and cold temperatures that I use. Like I start every single morning in the freezing water, and I do it for 2 reasons. One is it moves every bit of blood in your body and all your lymph in your system, but also kind of train my brain to say, when I say go, we go. It's like, there's never a day I look forward to going in the water. And I have, 56 degree water here, but in my home in Sun Valley, I go literally through the snow and get in the river, which is, like 39, 40 degrees in the wintertime. But you feel so incredible when you come out, but also it's just training your brain saying, I say go, we go. It's not like, oh, I'm not ready yet, or let me wait 5 minutes. And that becomes a discipline in your mind for everything else in your life, which is huge. And then, believe it or not, saunas, I just in the last year, I've started using saunas, and they've seen a huge change. I've always known about saunas. I use them, every now and then. But there's so much research on it now, and I have it in the book that'll blow your mind. Like 4 days a week in the sauna for just 20 minutes at 160 degrees plus, whether it's a laser type sauna, red sauna going in, or a traditional one, will absolutely change your health in more ways you can imagine. Like people that don't really work out, I can get them to do this now, and they can just go sit in the sauna. But what happens, it reduces your chance of a heart attack by over 51%.
I read that, yeah, wow.
It reduces your chance of a stroke by 62%. Your overall health is reduced. And then here's the thing I've noticed that happens to people I get doing this. They wouldn't work out, now they do the sauna and they put some music on, or they put a movie in the background or something. And the great thing is, after doing it for about a month, sweating and everything else, now they want to work out. Now they want to do something else. So I look for the things, the quick little hacks that can make it happen. In my life, I also use cryotherapy. And cryotherapy takes your body down to minus 250, Fahrenheit, takes out I used to ice myself because after an event, I've been, running up and down the stadium walls and everything else. Every ounce of me, 14 hours on stage, 12 hours on stage is gone. And I go ice like I did in football. 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, it's painful, but I had to do it. Now I go in for 2.5 minutes in a cryotherapy unit, and there's no inflammation in my body. It's just mind-boggling. For people who have osteoarthritis also, like my mother-in-law had such bad osteoarthritis, even medications weren't helping her, and she was crying at night, and I was like, I gotta find an answer. That's how I found cryo. And I started reading about cryotherapy and started reading about athletes doing it, but I started reading what it does for osteoarthritis. She has no pain now. Right? So they're just tools, and you don't have to own one of these things. I'm fortunate enough to have one here, but you can go, there's local places all over the United States, all over the world now, where you can just go in 5 or 10 minutes, and it's amazing. People just need to try it out. So there's lots of different tools. There's exercises you can do that I love called OsteoStrong. I invest in this company. It's a 10-minute workout. Sounds like total BS.
This is the one that speeds up your metabolism.
Yes, it helps you build stronger bones, which most people don't care about bones. Women understand, in their 50s, osteoporosis is a really huge thing. And most of the drugs will eventually fossilize the bones. This is the only thing that's been proven to increase bone density by about 14%. But my athlete friends love it. I love it because when your bones are stronger, your muscles are limited by your bone strength. Because otherwise your muscles will rip open the bone, right? So this is a 10-minute exercise. You do 4 different exercises, and you go to a local place. You don't have to own the equipment. And literally you're done in that time. And you see the transformation. First time I did this, I remember I worked with this woman, she was about 63 years old, and I went to Gold's Gym with her because he didn't have these machines then. There was a way of doing it with weights. It was a little bit spooky if you screwed up because the weight was so heavy. And there was this guy who was like, 25, 26 years old, ponytail, sweating like crazy doing the leg press. And we had a camera crew there, and she says, sir, he took a break and he's sweating. She goes, sir, can I just get a quick set in between you? And she's in normal clothes, and she's like 62 years old, 63 years old, and looked like she was almost 70. and he thought he was being punked, right? He gets up and she goes, "Could you put another 100 pounds on?" Literally another 100 pounds on. And so there's a technique where you use an extreme amount of weight for a short period of time and it stimulates it, because you don't get growth by working out, you get growth by rest, but you have to have a stimulus that's strong enough. And I started doing, I bench press in those days like 240 pounds, and then all of a sudden I bench press 525. And I did 1,600 pounds on the leg press, and the guy from Gold's Gym came over having a film, and he's like, "You're doing this with your mind." I was like, "No, anybody can do this." But now they have these machines, so you don't have to worry about the weight being too heavy or dropping on you. So there are these little tools that can make you stronger, make you faster. And then there's simple things I never did. Like, I was working on the sleep chapter at 6:25 in the morning, and I had to be up in 2.5 hours. I'm like, what's wrong with this picture? Because my whole thing was, my wife loves to sleep. 8 hours, 9 hours she'd be thrilled. Yeah. My thing is, I'll sleep when I die, right?
Right.
But then when I was doing the research for this book, I met this doctor who's a top neurobiologist over up in Northern California. He works for Google and everybody else. He's considered the top sleep doctor in the world. And he says, "Tony, I think I can convince you." And I said, "Good luck. Give me your best shot." And he said, "Well, I did a study. We got a study with 1.6 billion people on sleep." And I go, "You couldn't have possibly coordinated that." And he goes, "I didn't have to. It's all the countries, 70 countries that have daylight savings times."
Wow.
And he said, "Here's what you got." His name's Dr. Walker. He says, "Tony, all you got to do is look at the real numbers. Let me show you the numbers." And he showed me that for 3 days after we spring forward, you lose 1 hour. In every country in the world, on average, heart attacks increase 24%. And when we fall back and you get 1 extra hour, all around the world in 70 countries, on average, 21% decrease in heart attacks. Wow. And then he does the same stats on accidents and everything else. And then he showed me stats that show, a man that slept 4.5, 5 hours a night, like I was doing, usually had testosterone levels, somebody 10 years older than they were. That got my attention. So it's a combination of sleep, it's a combination of the right diet, it's a combination of the right stimulus of exercise. It's really doing those fundamentals that make a difference for you. And then it's doing these cool things like stem cells that completely changed my life.
Yeah.